Hey everybody, it's Morah Rifky here. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to make challah together to get ready for Shabbat. So before we begin, I used a recipe from one of my favorite cookbooks called Persian Food from the Non-Persian Bride, and she has a wonderful water challah recipe that I love to use. So the first thing that we're going to need is you're going to need yeast, sugar, oil, water, flour, and salt. It's a pretty simple recipe. So we're going to begin with the yeast mixture. So you're going to take a small bowl. Let's move this to the side. You're going to take a small bowl and you're going to put a quarter cup of sugar, or you can use honey. Then you're going to take yeast. I like to use rapid rise when I'm in a rush and I want it to rise quickly. I'm going to take 3 packets and I'm going to add it to my sugar mixture. 1. Make sure you get all the yeast out of the packet. Okay, and my second bag. And normally, many people don't like to make challah at home because they feel like it's something really hard to do or it takes a lot of steps. But it happens to be, it could be really simple. And if you plan on doing this with your child, don't plan on doing this all at once because it's a lot for our children. So if you plan on making challah with your children, either make the dough before and then let it rise, and when it's ready, braid it with your children, or split it into 2 different activities. First, make your dough maybe the night before or a morning activity, and then later in the afternoon, you can go ahead and braid it. But otherwise, it's a long project to do all at once. So now I have my sugar and my yeast mixture together, and I'm gonna go ahead and add my water. Now for the water, it calls for 1.5 cup of warm water. So my trick that I do is it says in the recipe, it works out perfect, 3/4 of a cup of boiling water and 3/4 of a cup of cold water. And when you mix it together, it comes out perfectly warm water. I'm gonna mix it together. Now, in order to know that the yeast mixture is activated and it's good, you're gonna look for either 2 signs. Either it's gonna start to bubble or it's gonna start to foam and get really big. The trick to get the perfect yeast is that it should be in a warm temperature. So if your house is on the colder side, I would turn on my oven to 200, leave it on, and then just put my yeast mixture on top so it gets nice and warm. I'm gonna take a spoon and mix it together. There we go. So you're gonna see right now, there's bubbles, and that's good. You just wanna know that the yeast is active and good. Sometimes you'll buy yeast from the store and you'll put it in and you won't see anything happen. Sometimes the yeast isn't good and sometimes it is. So you just wanna make sure before you go to make challah because nobody wants to eat dense challah. Okay, so this is my yeast mixture. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make the rest of the mixture. It is so simple. I'm gonna take my mixing bowl and I'm going to add all my ingredients that I have left. I'm gonna add in a cup of oil. I'm going to add 3 cups of water. And I'm going to add my salt, which is 1 tablespoon. When you're using salt and yeast, you never want the yeast and salt to touch. So I always do it separate. I'm always conscious about that it's not together. And I'm gonna add 5 pounds of flour or 15 cups of flour. It's best to use bread flour or high gluten flour. But right now, use whatever you have in your pantry before Pesach. Use everything up. So I'm using all-purpose flour. This recipe works great with spelt flour as well. I've used it before with spelt flour. And if you're going to be using spelt, you want to add the water in slowly because you might not need all 3 cups of flour. And if you're using whole wheat flour, you'll probably need all 3 cups. Just add it in slowly when you mix, see if you still need it. So now I have everything in my mixing bowl except my sugar. I'm gonna add my sugar in, and gotta take everything out because I forgot to put in the mixing. So freeze. Okay, so before you put all your ingredients in the bowl, always make sure the blade's inside. So now that I have my blade in the bowl and all my ingredients, I'm gonna check on my yeast. Now I want you to see the yeast, how it's nice and foamy on top. That's what you want your yeast to look like so that you know your challah will come out nice and fluffy. I'm gonna pour it on top of my mixture. Make sure you get it all out. And then when you put the mixer on, start with a low speed and then go to a high speed. And I mixed for a total of 5 minutes. So I'm gonna put the timer on my microwave. I'm gonna put my timer for 5 minutes. I'm gonna start with a low speed and then go to a high speed. Okay, so after you mix your dough, you're gonna put it in a large bowl so it has space to rise. And then you're going to take a piece of the dough the size of an egg or a lime, and you're going to make a special blessing. During this time where you make a blessing, they say that the gates of heaven open and you can pray for anything. So it's a very meaningful and special time. You take a piece of dough and you're gonna make a special blessing on it, and it goes like this. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehafreshat challah min ha'isa harei zu challah. This is the challah. You're going to take this and you can wrap it up and put it to the side. Now you can double bag it and put in the garbage, or you can burn it in the oven, or some people put it in a bag, keep it in the freezer, and when you burn your chametz for Pesach, they burn it then. Find out what your family custom is. So after that, you're going to spray the top of the dough with some ham, and you're going to cover it with saran wrap. Now, you're going to let your dough rise for about an hour, or if your kitchen's super warm, you'll let it rise until it doubles in size. And again, like what I did with the yeast, I like to leave the oven on 200 so it's a nice warm area. And I'm just gonna place my challah on top of my stove so it can rise nice in that area. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it there. And I'm gonna let it sit there for about an hour. Okay, so after your dough doubles in size, you're gonna take it, unwrap it, and now you can shape it into any kind of challah that you like. So today what we're gonna make is, we'll do a 6 braid. So some people like to weigh out each piece or scoop it with a measuring cup to make sure it's all even. Do what you like, what works best for you and your family. So I'm gonna start with 6 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You wanna make sure that they all look pretty much all even. Okay, so we're gonna work with this. So I have my 3 pieces of challah dough, and what I basically do is I'm gonna roll them into snakes. So I'm gonna keep the video tape all this. And when I roll the dough, I start from the middle and I work my way out. And then I just put that to the side. And you're gonna basically do this for all 6 pieces. And again, I'm working in and out, in and out, in and out. I know some people, they like to take a rolling pin, roll out the circle, and then roll it up that way. It makes it grow more fluffier as well. You can really do whatever, at this point you could do whatever you like to do, and what works best for you. So this will be my 6th braid, and if you don't know how to do a 6th braid or you don't have time, 3 braids are perfect as well, or you can make a snake, a big round challah, really what your family prefers. So this is my last dough, and I'm going to line up all 6 pieces. And now even with the 6 spray, there's like different ways to do it. I like to do 3 and 3 and then pinch on the top like this. You can make, and also you can make your strands thicker, however you like. Okay, I take the 2 end pieces and I go like that, and then I take this one down the middle and I go like this. And I basically keep going from side to side. And then pull it back in the middle, and then at the ends, just tuck it in like that, and there you go. There's your stick spray. And then you put in your challah pan or your loaf pan, whatever you have. Make sure you spray it first. And then at this point, you can egg it, and then you can put toppings on it if you like. And then you're gonna let this sit for another 45 to an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, so it gets nice and big. At that point, you're gonna put it in to a 400 degree oven and let it bake there for about 10-15 minutes till it gets a nice crust. Then bring it down to 350 and let it finish baking on 350 for probably about another 30 minutes until it looks ready, basically. So basically that's how you make challah. Enjoy. I can't wait to see pictures of you and your family making this challah. I know that when we have school, we usually don't get to make challah from scratch. So this will be a special treat for you and your family to do while you're home, to spend time with one another. It's great because you can learn so many math skills and see so many cool different science experiments that happen with the dough, with the yeast, and seeing the dough change different forms. And you can have fun with the dough. You can add different flavors to it and have a taste test. What flavor does everyone like better? And you can graph it. There's so many different amazing learning opportunities you can have just by baking challah together. So enjoy, have a fun time, and have a beautiful Shabbat.